Hello, this is Andrew Davey at Nevada Forward, and we're here with Ian Hoffmann with AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. They represent workers here at the North Las Vegas VA Medical Center. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, to get started with, why is everyone outside today?
We're here because the VA healthcare system, which includes VHA and the VBA, Veterans Healthcare Administration and the Veterans Benefits Administration, is under attack. Really from day one of this current administration and this current Congress. Not only the VA, but all federal employees have been under attack. You might remember that one of the first things they did in office, the first week, was hiring freeze in the federal government. This is a hiring freeze, and they had to go back in and put these exemptions in. This is a hiring freeze that affects people in the VA, Department of Defense, really across the board.
So the VA has been included in the hiring freeze?
Yes, now they made a lot of exemptions, but they had to go back and fix that. And our message has been really clear as we were chanting today out here while people were on their lunch, coming off federal property, not on the clock, and on their lunch. And the message, you heard it time and time again, do the math, add more staff. Secretary Shulkin's own estimate back in May was 49,000 vacancies across the nation.
And my understanding is there are about 600 vacancies just in the Las Vegas system.
Almost 600 vacancies just here in Southern Nevada. I mean, that's an atrocity. And it's especially concerning, not only because of the veterans who are impacted and all the patients here, but because at the same time, just a couple days ago, the Senate VA committee, which Senator Heller sits on, approved an additional $54 billion for the CHOICE program. And the CHOICE program was supposed to be a stopgap measure, something put in place, but it's essentially private care for veterans. And so when we see that combined with comments that we get from Secretary Shulkin, VA Secretary Shulkin, about closing VA facilities and, oh, well, there's a lens crafter on every corner, he said, so why do we need optometry in the VA healthcare system? It's really all leading to the same thing, which is privatization. And that's what the people we serve, are so concerned about.
And there's a lot to unwrap there, but to get started, proponents originally framed the CHOICE program as a way to fix the wait times.
Right.
Veterans who were put on wait lists because there just weren't enough people to provide care. So why hasn't that been an adequate solution?
Well, here's part of the problem. I also do a lot of work in Northern California, and I'll go up to a VA clinic up in Eureka, for example, where the clinic is short-staffed, just like here we mentioned the 600 vacancies.
Yeah.
The VA system itself, which is actually an incredible system, which in most ways actually performs better than the private hospitals, is starved for resources. And we have veterans in Northern California, I'm using Humboldt County and Eureka as an example, where they've actually been sent to use CHOICE for certain things, and they actually come back to the clinic and they say, CHOICE, the private sector can't provide what I want, and in many cases, if it can't provide, they don't want it because they're not veterans, they don't know how to deal with them, and they said, you know what, I wish that if I couldn't get the procedure, operation, whatever it is done here at the clinic, put me on the bus down to the big VA medical center in San Francisco, and I would have rather had it done there. So our message is really clear. Yes, we want to make sure that those wait times are brought down, but let's get it brought down where they want to be seen, which is here at the VA. So staff the VA. If there are extenuating circumstances where you live a really far distance, of course there are going to be situations, but this happens across the board in the federal government where our resources are drained. The due process rights, which has been a theme with this Congress and this president, attack the union, attack the due process rights, hiring freeze. So bring the morale down, starve the resources, and then point and say, look, they can't get the job done. Let's funnel money into this private sector.
Yeah, and then getting back to access to care.
Yeah.
That's been a big issue here in Nevada, particularly in rural Nevada, where for civilian care in our rural communities, in many of them, there still aren't enough providers.
That's right, and we're here at this beautiful VA Medical Center, but of course we've got clinics in Pahrump and Laughlin and elsewhere, and we want to make sure they have the resources too, because again, some of these clinics, they're doing magic every day, And you're absolutely right. We've got a lot of veterans living in rural communities, and we do want to make sure that they're getting the best possible care and getting it as quickly as possible.
And finally,
yeah.
in the coming days, as Congress potentially decides on the future of the federal government, how they're going to raise the debt ceiling, whether another round of sequester cuts will come into place, what would you like them to do, especially when it comes to taking care of the veterans who rely on the VA here?
Here's what we continue to see. We continue to see budget deficits, these so-called deficit hawks worried about the national debt, passing these outrageous budgets, and again coming back to the same people time and time again, the most needy, veterans and federal employees. So our message is really clear. Listen to your constituents, listen to veterans, listen to the community, and we're all aware that November 6, 2018 will come around pretty quickly. So we're lobbying every day, we're careful to do it on our own time, but we're mobilizing, we're organizing, and we're very, very, very concerned about this administration, this Congress. And I've got no problem quoting President Roosevelt, FDR, who says, fascism, this is his definition of fascism, government controlled by private economic power. That's what President Roosevelt said. So again, government controlled by private economic power is fascism. Look at that cabinet, Scott Pruitt, Betsy DeVos, Secretary Shulkin. Look at people like Steve Mnuchin. If we're not fired up and ready to go right now, we'll never be.